How's it going, everybody? Thanks a ton for tuning in, and welcome back to episode 2 of the Have a Go Talk Show. I'm your host, Dylan Saucedo, and we're finally back making some podcast episodes, talking about some rugby, and making some videos for you guys. Really just here to spread the news, get the news out there, and make sure everybody's kind of aware of what's going on in the rugby world, right? Especially this summer, there's a lot of rugby going on, a lot of news to be heard and to be talked about as well. So really excited to be back in the game, making some videos for you guys, and especially getting some long form ones out there as well. I think it's important just to keep up with all the rugby news, right? Playing my own rugby this summer with the men's club down here in Sacramento, but at the same time, got to be making sure to watch these games, learn from some of these guys. There's obviously a lot of really high-level rugby being played this summer, both 7s and 15s, like we'll talk about here in a little bit. But yeah, let's get right into it. Got some big news for you guys off the bat. Couple of big storylines just coming out of the rugby world. First off, Hong Kong goes for World Cup qualification. There to make their debut in 2027 down under in Australia. So really excited for a country like that, Hong Kong, China, to be making their debut at the Rugby World Cup. This team has been, really fighting for chances. They've been winning a lot of games, playing a lot of good rugby. Still, not as high level as some of these other, tier 1 nations, tier 2 nations, but they're really leveling up over the past couple of years and, finally now make their World Cup debut in 2027. Obviously, the next World Cup will be a little bit of a different format than in past years and in the past couple of World Cups. There'll be a couple of more teams, so I believe 32 teams, but we'll talk about that as it gets closer to the tournament. But nonetheless, congratulations to Hong Kong, China for making their debut on the World Cup in 2027 and earning that qualification this last weekend. Very happy to see that on the weekend. Another thing on the weekend that happened, Wales drops to an all-time low in the World Rugby Rankings. So they just played Japan on the weekend. They played Japan this weekend coming up as well. So 2 back-to-back matches against Japan there for Wales. But in Principality Stadium, honestly a tough one for Wales. Was able to watch this match. For Wales, it's a little bit different when the Lions tour is going on, right? The Lions, shout out the boys. For the Lions, there's only 2 Welsh players on the whole squad. It's going to be the scrum half, who's basically their oldest guy, their captain, one of their leaders, right? And then Jack Morgan, who's actually their captain. He's their flanker. He's their young star. Obviously, Jenkins as well. Faft Jenkins, I believe his name is, but a couple of star guys on the Welsh team, 2 of them out of the lineup for these couple of test matches here in the summertime due to the Lions tour. Obviously, Tomas Williams, unfortunately, went down with a tough injury in the Lions tour. I believe in that game against the Western Force. Maybe it was against the Waratahs on the week, but real tough for Tomas Williams there. And then for Wales, it's hard for them to win these games. They've got a lot of young guys. A lot of dudes retired after that 2021 Grand Slam, so it's not the same team that we saw win that tournament a couple of years back. I actually took a tour over to Wales in high school with my rugby team and played a couple of games out there. But just being able to see, the rugby culture in Wales, all that kind of thing, like it's sad to see them drop to such a low ranking. For me as a USA fan, I don't feel like 14 is that low. Obviously, we're sitting at number 15 right now. But like for Wales, that's a massive drop for them. It's the lowest they've been in their history. I think they were number 13 at one point as well. But number 14, not a good look for a first 4 nation. It's really tough for them, but nonetheless, they got another game this weekend, another opportunity to win a match. I think they're 14, 15, 16, something like that game losing streak right now. So really pushing for Wales to make a big win this weekend. I love Wales. The country was just amazing. I went to Cardiff, spent some time there, and just the city, man, like the culture. Everybody loves rugby there. In Ireland, in England, it's a little bit more about like soccer. Like people definitely love soccer there, but in Wales, it's all about the rugby. It's all about, moving that to the next level. And it's kind of like our country, but there's a lot of different sports. Got to focus on the one. So I really loved being over there and really pushing for Wales this weekend. So that's some big news there coming out of the rugby world. Another thing, shout out to Ilona Maher, USA Rugby star in both 7s and 15s. She is going to go to the World Cup with the USA Women's this year. But Ilona just got nominated to go to the ESPYs. So she's nominated for Breakthrough Athlete of the Year. A massive congratulations to Ilona. She becomes the first rugby player ever to be nominated for an ESPY. And this is massive for the rugby world. Ilona has been making some big steps for us, of course. She's the most followed rugby player on earth, has been for a couple of months now. Was able to chat with her at 2024 LA Sevens, and so was able to talk with her there about, what rugby's like for her and kind of this experience. She has her own podcast now, and she talks a lot about just enjoying the time, really, working hard and putting her front foot forward. She takes all the opportunities that come to her. I think she's been on a couple of different, like Copper Tone. I think she was on their sunscreen commercials for a while, Panera Bread as well. So Ilona's making some big steps. Wanted to give her a shout out because she's been doing some great stuff across the rugby world and for USA Rugby, right? I think it's really important for this to be highlighted, especially because the ESPYs is a massive award show held by ESPN, the biggest sports kind of broadcasting network in the world, and especially here in the USA. So for Ilona to get on that stage, put our name in there in the hat, I guess. It's really, really big. Of course, she's nominated alongside Paul Skeens and a couple of other like dogs in their sports. So really excited for Ilona, and a big shout out to her for getting nominated for the ESPYs and Breakthrough Athlete of the Year. A side note, obviously she's been playing for about 7 or 8 years now, has been at this high level since the 2021 Olympics. So like she's getting finally some credentials, I guess, for it. But this has been a long time coming. So congratulations to Ilona for that. And that's our big news for the week. Aside from that, there's a lot of other stuff going on. So the Lions Tour international tests are happening. India just held their Premier Rugby Sevens competition, and that just ended a couple of days ago. So we're going to chat about all of those things. Before that, though, obviously Major League Rugby, our big competition here in the US of A, had a massive, massive season. I think what's next for Major League Rugby is just that professionalism, right? The media, all that kind of stuff, getting that all to a little bit higher level. This year with ESPN, they made a huge jump in terms of, followers, fan impact, I guess you could say. There's a lot of people watching the rugby now, and a lot of people like learning about rugby as well. One thing I want to note is by the end of the season, from the beginning, I saw a lot more fans at most of these matches. I know Chicago, New England, a couple of those teams have really big stadiums. It's really hard to fill those kind of stadiums, but Chicago able to sell out a couple of sections of their stadium for those last couple of games. The playoffs obviously got pretty rowdy as well, and New England stadium's always packed like it always is. So some great stuff there. And I think that's really important to highlight as we move into Major League Rugby 2026. Obviously, quite a few months away, but important to talk about that now. So the Three Jacks, congratulations to the New England Free Jacks for taking the third in a row Major League Rugby championship. It was a massive year for the Free Jacks. I was actually able to watch these boys last year at the championship final in San Diego in 2024. And man, the Three Jacks, they've been phenomenal the past couple of years. New coach comes in this year who coached them in 2020, I believe, 2021-ish. They had some real veterans returning. I think Ben Lesage, Quatrin, a couple other dudes were returners from, I know Bale Khanum was one of those. And then, who was the other one? Quatrin. There's a couple other dudes who returned for all 3 Major League Rugby championships and have played a massive role in this squad. So congratulations to the boys there. Obviously, the Free Jacks stood on top of our rankings for most of the season, and we're really excited to see them win the championship. Tough to see the Seawolves lose against the Warriors in that game in Utah, but unfortunately, that's just how rugby goes. Not everybody can win, but the Warriors definitely put in a good shift there. Put in a good shift the next week as well. The SaberCats took them over, unfortunately, and the SaberCats go on to the championship. Really big for Houston as well. Like, Houston rugby community is a massive community. I think it was huge for Seth Smith, a guy like that, to be playing in the Major League Rugby Championship in his hometown, or for his hometown, I should say. So I think those kind of things are massive to highlight, and really just taking a look at those as we move throughout the rest of the summer. Like I said, the look of the league, the professionalism, those are things we're going to try and level up before next year. But nonetheless, this year, definitely a huge step up from years in the past. The Major League Rugby Championship was a lot bigger this year, held in Rhode Island, so in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, different stadium, a brand new stadium. I think it's a soccer stadium, but nonetheless, a lot of fans there, a lot of showing out for our rugby fans, and really happy to see that. Hopefully going to get some interviews with some players from Team USA that played Major League Rugby this season. So, we'll ask them, how that season went for them, talk about that a little bit, and then talk about USA Rugby as well. But yeah, that's kind of it for Major League Rugby. We're going to kind of go back to that as we get closer to the next season. So probably wintertime-ish, we'll start talking about Major League Rugby again. But for now, really just focusing on international tests, the Lions Tour, some of the Sevens stuff that's kind of going on around the world. And then I think I want to get into some of the grassroots rugby, so kind of talking about that and doing a little bit more to promote those kind of teams. So some great stuff there from Major League Rugby. Moving on, the Lions Tour is a massive, massive thing that's going on this year. Obviously, one of the pinnacles of rugby, the Lions Tour. So 2021, 2025, 2013, 2017, all Lions Tour years. So it's every 2 years from the Rugby World Cup. So like Rugby World Cups in 2023, Lions Tours in 25. Rugby World Cup's in 27. Lions Tour will be again in 29. So it's like that every 2 years. I think it's a really cool thing that I honestly didn't really know much about moving into this year. So the Lions, you can see this thing. Again, I don't know what name this is. A sweatshirt, I guess you could call it. A crew neck is what it really is. But anyways, this is from the South Africa tour. So 2017, I believe, was when they went to South Africa the last time. And I honestly didn't know much about the Lions tour. Like I had no idea that it was a combination of those 4 teams. Like I know there's the crest right there that has like the 4 countries, obviously, but I honestly did not know what those were until I went to England and Wales and Ireland. So I think that was really cool for me to kind of like recognize that. And then that was like 3 years ago. So that was 2022, right after the Lions had kind of went. And so I bought that in England. And so that's why I kind of figured out what it was at that time. But anyways, 2025 now, they're back on tour. The 4 nations have combined yet again, and they're on a rampage right now. First 3 games have gone through. They've played the Western Forest, the Waratahs. They're about to play the Brumbies. They've played Argentina. First 4 games or I guess those are the first 3. 4th one's coming up tomorrow against the Waratahs. So some big stuff there for the Lions. The lineups have been real mixed around. We've seen a lot of center combinations, a lot of back 3 combinations in the forwards pack, a lot of front 3 combinations, or front row combinations, I should say. For a coach like Andy Farrell, like how do you even pick this kind of lineup, right? Like how do you leave guys that are international rugby players, 100 caps, 50 caps? Like how do you leave them out of lineups, right? It's so tough. I couldn't imagine being the Lions coach right now. I couldn't imagine being a player on that squad. There is a guy my age, fortunately, Henry Pollock, just a monster on the rugby pitch, and honestly, becoming one of my favorite players. I think he is my favorite player, matter of fact, at the point. He's shocking to watch. He's outstanding on the pitch. He plays with energy. He plays with fire. And that's what we need in rugby. We talk about this a lot. Like, we need more characters. We need more people to like, oh, I love that player and I want to go watch him. When I was a little kid, I've talked about this a lot, but like Mike Trout was a guy I liked watching. I liked watching his interviews. He talked about his swing. He talked about his approach to plate, how he went about going through batting practice and things like that. So watching that kind of stuff and listening to that as a young kid like made me fall in love with Mike Trout. After that, I went down to LA to like go watch Mike Trout. Like I wanted to go watch Mike Trout so bad. Went to Disneyland and we went to the Anaheim Angels game. And dude, like that's the kind of thing that we need in rugby. So I think Henry Pollock is doing a phenomenal job of that. And he's been great on the tour this year. Not sure if he'll be a test guy for the Lions. Obviously, Farrell's got a ton of choices to choose from, but looks like a test guy to me. Looks like a guy you'd want to have on that squad. And definitely, thinking in the future, like Henry Pollock's probably going to be on a couple more tours in his career. Guys like Owen Farrell, who just got brought to the squad as well, which is a little bit controversial, but guys like that you've been building for so many years, right? Like you wanted to get him in that first tour, I think 2017, 2021, 2025. So 2013 was Owen Farrell's first tour. They were able to get him in on the pitch. Like he played 10. He was able to get some minutes. And that was such a big thing for him moving into the rest of his rugby career. Like after that, he took such a big step up into international rugby, was so great. And I think that was, a massive piece of that. So I think that's definitely something to pay attention to as Andy Farrell. Not sure if he is or not. I'm sure he is. But yeah, for me, like I would want to put Pollock in and Finn Smith, those kind of guys, get them on the field as much as possible in this tour, because next time you're going to need them. There's a lot of old guys in this squad, a lot of vets, and some of these guys might not be at the top of their game for that next Lions tour, right? So like we've seen from 2021 to now, there's so many different combinations, so many different players. Obviously, there's a couple of players who have stayed around, but like those guys are going to be gone by the time the next tour comes. Like Bundyaki, he's getting old. He's still a frightful guy to line up against, I'm sure, but by 2029, like is he going to be at the top of his game to play in the Lions tour? We don't know, right? We're not going to know until then. So you got to think about that in advance. Guys like Henry Pollock and Finn Smith, got to get them on early. So that's kind of my take on the Lions. The results they've had have just been phenomenal. They've been tearing up these Aussie club teams and Super Rugby teams. Some great stuff being done there. Another piece of news that I want to add is my guy Cammy Orr. Shout out to my boy. He's on the Seawolves. He's a star prop for the Seawolves. Has been there for I think two years now, so second year with the Seawolves. But he's actually been named in the Brumbies lineup this week to start on the bench against the Lions. So what an opportunity for my guy Cammy Orr. Dude's been phenomenal in Major League Rugby the past 2 years. He's got a coaching a coaching platform that he uses and coaches young players. So the guy's making impacts in the game. He's playing really high level rugby and making a huge impact in Seattle, both coaching and just being in the community and meeting people. He's a real family oriented kind of guy. He likes connections. Likes to make friends with the fans and things like that. So just so happy for him. Can't say it enough. Like Cam York, congratulations, my man. Really excited to see him go this week against the Lions. I think that's tomorrow night. Today's Tuesday, so it's actually tonight at midnight or 3 a.m. in California here. But yeah, going to be paying attention to that one. Going to be making sure to watch that tomorrow, and really excited for Cam York to come off the bench against the Lions tomorrow night for the Brumbies. So great stuff there. I have a hot take here as well that I like to add against the Lions. So they lost to Argentina. Personally, I feel like they won the game by 40 points. Like, honestly, watching that match, if I didn't see the score, I would have thought the Lions were winning by at least 20 points by the end of the game. Argentina played some really good rugby. Some weird stuff for them. They just lost to England this last weekend. So, they beat the Lions, take a week off, you play England, and you lose by 5 points. I don't really know how that works. But same kind of lineup for Argentina. So, it was a little bit of a weird thing there. But, test rugby is test rugby. That's just how it goes. My hot take, though, to get to that is the Lions are going to dismantle the Australian side. I honestly think that they've been so fluent, so smooth in these games they've played against the Super Rugby teams that I don't know what Australia can do necessarily to fix that, to stop that. You got Bundyaki lined up against Swali'i at 13. It's going to be a crazy matchup to watch. Could even get Hugh Jones in there, who's been playing some really great rugby as well. But it's going to be a massive couple of games in Australia. I'm really excited to watch it. Hope you guys are too. All of the games are being streamed on Rugby Pass, so shout out to my boys over there at Rugby Pass. And make sure you get on there, create yourself a free account, and watch these games because it's going to be a massive week in a couple of weeks leading up to the end of the Lions tour here in 2025. That's all I got for the Lions tour. Moving on, we've got USA Rugby. So USA Rugby obviously has a summer match series going on right now. They just played Belgium last weekend, got a big win there. I think 36-17 the final score. They play Spain this coming weekend, and the next weekend they play England's A side. So it's going to be a big couple of weeks for USA. They just got a big win coming off of a couple of really great results from last year as well. And a couple of dudes are in this lineup who have that experience, have that play time. They've gotten those minutes to win these games, and I'm really excited to see what Team USA pulls out of their sleeve this week. Malakina Khan was a phenomenal on his debut. Sam Gala, unfortunately, had a big injury to his shoulder 22 or 25 minutes in. Malakina Khan comes on at number 5 and just lights it up. Played some really great defense, had some really great ruck arrivals, and even scored a try on debut. So congratulations to him, and really hoping to see him as that starter for number 5 this week. Not sure who else you're going to go with there. You can move some guys around, but I think the important thing here is to get a guy like that some time. You see him score a try on debut. You see how he is with the ball. His hands are phenomenal. He grew up outside of the U.S., so he's played rugby all over the world. Hoping to see that guy get a start this weekend and hoping to see them get a win as well. Nate Augsburger, obviously incredible on the pitch in his 50th cap last week against Belgium. I don't know how you can move him around. There's plenty of wings to play yet. Like Inafudi, Noah Brown, those guys haven't gotten any play time yet. They are pretty young still, so a guy like Nate's got to have some kind of veterancy over them. But I think it's all about form right now. So Nate's played some really great form this last weekend. Didn't play much in Major League Rugby this year, but nonetheless is a very high level rugby player. Very smart on the pitch. Has played 9, has played 15 at the international level. So excited to see him lead this team. Ben Benasso, our new captain, been phenomenal in Major League Rugby this year for the Miami Sharks. Plays a lot of lock, plays a lot of 8-man, plays a lot of flanker as well. But a really versatile guy. He's got good ball carrying. He's got good rucking skills. And we're really excited to see him named captain and take that responsibility on before we go into the Pacific Nations Cup at the end of the year. So with that, USA is slated to have an opportunity for World Cup qualification in 2027. That's coming up at the end of this year. So the Pacific Nations Cup, we've talked about it before, coming up in this fall, August, September area. That's kind of when that will go on. But England comes up next, so a big matchup before that. and we're hoping to build some of this depth moving into these games and even hopefully get a win against England. So England obviously will be a little bit short-staffed because of the Lions tour. They've got about 15 guys on that tour at the moment. So it's going to be a strong England side. You got guys like George Ford, Jamie George, who are playing some really great rugby and just got their 100th cap for England. So they're Centurions, and they're coming to the USA to play our international team. So very excited for it. Got a lot of good rugby to watch the rest of the summer, and just happy to have it up our sleeve. Yeah, that'll be it for episode 2 of the Have a Go Talk Show. Thanks a ton for tuning in and listening, watching, and just hearing about rugby. I love rugby. I hope you love rugby, and that's what we're here to do, is talk about the game that we love. So some great stuff there. USA Age Grade is doing a phenomenal job overseas right now as well, and we're growing the game. So we're going to talk about some of that stuff as we move into the rest of the summer. Episode 3 will come in a couple of weeks, probably a week or 2, but really excited to keep going with this and get the Have a Go Talk Show starting to have a go. So amazing stuff there. Thanks a ton for listening. When you're done, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I Have a Go Talk Show on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Cheers.